Duncan, hello, Tartaria, Australia. Hey man, hey man.
Hey, how you doing? Sitting over there in Africa?
I am in Africa. It's fucking excellent. I am in the blue city, Chef Showen in Morocco, and it's just something out of this world, really. Houses creeping up into this like mountainous ravine, and I'm gonna tell you what, my butt muscles have gotten a good. I'll have a butt of steel after all this, man. This walking, I tell you. It's definitely a physical holiday coming to Africa. You're definitely not sitting around doing fucking nothing, I tell you. It's
Oh,
like
man.
a lot of walking and up and down, stairs, hills.
Yeah, it
The
looks
real
good.
exercise of the world.
And you're in Casablanca too, man. I can't believe it.
Casablanca was rad. It's like the slums of it's such a it's all Tartarian, of course, but it's just like there's the decaying Tartarian realm, and then sort of the slummy marketplaces wrapping around, and then the touristy places, and they're called souks, and they're excellent. Except this is repetitive sort of shops over and over again for the tourists, but who cares? It's like it's super fun, and we've been having a great time. I highly recommend the Tartarian audience to go to Morocco. It's super fun. And man, like the hashish is so friggin' excellent. And behind, I was talking to the owner of the hotel that we're staying in, which is called a Riad. Um, and yeah, over the mountain, I was like, what do they do over the mountains behind me? And he said, oh, it's where they grow the marijuana. I was like, oh my God, this place is excellent. I can love this place.
So good.
But yeah, it's a super smooth trip we're on. It's very cool. So we're heading to a town called Fez for Christmas, whatever that means, and then onto the Sahara Desert where we're going to be staying in the sand dunes, and then onto Marrakesh, New Year's, where
Marrakesh.
hopefully we can find some wine because it's a very dry country in relationship to alcohol.
Yes, yes, it's an Islamic
Yeah.
country. So do they do Christmas there, or is there anything happen for Christmas, or it's just not a thing at all?
No, it's delightful. No, it's super delightful. It's completely absent.
Nice. Interesting.
Yeah,
Wow. Jeez.
gone.
And Casablanca, man, that's a Mandela effect, right? They never
Yeah, I
never
know.
said play it again, Sam. Doesn't exist.
Right. That's right. And we've met in the total trip now. We've met one Australian from Perth, of all places, roaming around, lost, and that's it. There's been no Aussies here. Very little tourism. It's very yeah, it's very low key on that level. So that's obviously super interesting and fun as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And better, right? Like not overrun with the whole tourism thing and like because when you with tourist towns, they just change, right? They change to bloody suit the tourists and to sell stuff to them, basically.
I mean, it's interesting though because of the tourism, it like they develop this sort of beautiful marketplace around the town, which is, beneficial and it's fun and there's lots of places to drink tea and it's cool like that. There's a lot of sugar here. The sugar is massive and I've been eating these little triangle cow cheeses. You know the
Oh,
fun ones we used to get
yeah.
our lunch boxes. They were
Yeah.
like they were totally tradable in the
With the
playground.
with the
Like
red
everyone
cow. Yeah, yeah, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like standard diet over here. I think they survive off that. So I've just been like, wow, I love the little cow cheeses. Again, but
Awesome.
so
Huh?
hey, I had an interesting thought the other day off the back of our conversation with Guy. Everyone's very excited about Guy joining us for 2025. All right, but and I should be saying this with Guy in the room, but I'm just going to put it out there because I had it. And like I was thinking about because I was writing my chapter for the book on time, right? Well, I was telling my quickening story, the quickening, and I hope your writing's going well, Mr. Autodidactic.
Yeah. Yes,
hmm
yes,
hmm
yes.
hmm For anyone who doesn't know, Campbell and I are co-authoring a book, and mine's just all my stories, and Campbell's doing all the serious stuff, whatever that ends up being. I don't even know. I've never even read even a sentence of your writing. I have no idea if you're even a good writer, man. I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. I'm shocked. I'm an amazing
Are
writer.
are you good? Excellent. So
I'm good.
we'll be releasing a book next year. So I'm just scouring him along. But I was writing my chapter on the quickening, and then I started to think about time as we were talking about time the other day. And then I started to like full on rock out to daylight savings. And I was like, okay, how weird is daylight savings? Let's think about it for a second. And daylight savings isn't an Australian thing. It's worldwide, right? There's over like 72 countries that do daylight savings, which means, and like if you look at it from the perspective, every 6 months in Australia, we undergo daylight savings, and we either turn the clock back and lose an hour, or we turn the clock or we gain an hour. We lose an hour, we gain an hour. And then 6 months later, we take that hour back or we give it back. So it's like, and then I'm thinking, imagine if you broaden that out so that across the realm, every 6 months, there's a gigantic grandfather clock gong. You know the chime, then when it hits midnight, the bong, bong. Imagine if that's like ascended the whole realm every 6 months. And in that time, everyone did the same thing, which was to turn the clocks back an hour or gain an hour, right? And from the perspective of doing that, it's like, you know, those clocks that used to get stuck, they go tick, 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 and they couldn't move past the 12. They just get tick, tick, tick.
Yep,
And it
yep.
was like stuck in this sort of like dink, 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 dink. We're essentially, I mean, if you think about it, daylight savings is like a mechanism to keep us looped within an hour every year across the whole realm. Like that, we just keep resetting the hour every 6 months. We go back an hour, we gain an hour, we go back an hour, we gain. And so we're like trapped in this like dunk, 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 dunk. And if you think about it from that perspective, it's like literally a mechanism to bind us to a certain, like, very small timeline. A very small timeline, dunk, dunk, dunk,
Yeah,
dunk. I mean, it's like we're flickering in, like we can't get past that. And in that, like, which is a really weird concept, don't you reckon? Like,
yeah,
it's very Dark City. Like, if you added a big giant gong that went across the whole world, it feels very much like, ooh, reset, ooh, reset. And we do it every single year, and no one knows why. Like, we're told it's for practical reasons, but whatever, whatever.
yeah.
And in that hour, all the clocks change across the world. So, like, isn't it interesting that we literally change the clocks every 6 months? Back and forth, and never get past that hour. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you think of like this as a giant, like magical ritual to
Yeah.
do with time and to keeping us bound to the constructs of this false earth time, like it binds us, right? Boom, 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 like a glitch.
Yeah, well, it's Kronos, right? The god of time, which a lot of people say is, the devil, right?
Yep. So
That's
we're glitching. Daylight saving glitches us and binds us to earth time. Dunk, dunk, dunk,
interesting.
dunk, dunk,
Yeah,
dunk. I just thought that was really
interesting
interesting
thought for sure. Yeah,
on
yeah.
the topic of time and how we interact with it and don't even really think much about it. We just do it because we're told to do it. Like it's given to us as part of what we have to do.
Mm.
It's just really friggin' weird.
Well, it
And
is weird, man, especially in Australia, right? Like for anyone not in Australia, we've got two states, Queensland and New South Wales, and they
yeah,
literally merge. Like you drive from one to the other and you don't realize
yeah,
you've done it, right? It's constant
yeah,
civilization. And one state has daylight savings and the other doesn't. And so when it's on, you literally cross the road in this town and the time changes by an hour. So it's also like messing with our heads a bit too,
yeah.
right? Like it's just weird.
It's so weird. We gain an hour, we lose an hour. Is this so weird? And then we do it all again in six
It's-
months and reverse the whole thing. It's
Yeah,
just so friggin' weird. I'm just saying it's friggin' weird and it's part of their time ritual magic. I'm sure of it. I'm sure
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Anyway, that's
Well,
just
the timekeepers, right? I mean, that's again like time is one of that's part of the box, right? The square that we're kept in, how we're controlled. I mean, we all know the whole time thing. So yeah, why wouldn't they be playing with time? They're playing with
they
everything
are playing
else.
with time because
Mm,
we're bound by this terrible construct, this earth time construct. It binds us. And then I went on to the topic of dreams. And I thought dreams are so fascinating as well because on one hand, we've got we use the word intermittently, right? Dream. We use it intermittent. On one hand, it's meant to symbolize clarity and total focus and like articulation
But yeah,
of your
what's
dream
your
life, of your dream life,
dream? Yeah.
like complete focus, clarity, articulation. And then on the other hand, it's like a complete mystery. It's surrendered to the mystery. It's like if we could think about the dreaming, like dreaming at nighttime, we have no fucking idea what that is. We don't know why we do it. But it's interesting that when we go to sleep and are no longer bound by Earth time, in a sense,
Mm,
we suddenly dream. We have these insane dreams. Like, so that's us outside of the binding nature of time, and we have dreams. And so those dreams, we have no understanding of them. They're completely abstract, they're lofty, they don't have any solidity to us. We don't know where they come from. We don't even know who's doing the dreaming. We don't know if it's us or it's been put into us. We don't know where we are when we're dreaming. We literally, it's the one word on this whole realm that we have no understanding of at all.
mm, totally. And
And
there's
so doesn't
no
that,
time. There's no time at all in a dream. Like you say, we step outside of the time.
that's right. It's
Mm,
timeless. And so then, like, if you look at those two, it's like it's a perfect analogy of the polarity of this and the dichotomy of this realm. So we have go after your dream, articulate your dream, be clear about your dream,
mm,
and then go into a dream and have no idea about anything ever and no concept of it at all. Like it's such a
yeah. Opposites, right? Like the same word that means the opposite to itself. It's like whole, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's the same thing.
yeah,
Which,
yeah.
yeah, that's very
So
interesting.
anyway, that was a side note from like yesterday. But to update me on this flat Earth thing that's going on. Like what's
No,
happening there?
I, I haven't watched heaps of it. I just did see a video, and it looks like there's a little bit of a war raging within the flat Earth community.
Yeah.
So three people went to Antarctica, or three flat earthers,
Mm,
invited down by a ball earther, and he took, I think, a group of 10,
yeah.
and basically they called it the final experiment. And this was his way to, conclusively prove whether it's flat or round, or not round, spherical. And it was basically to film the 24-hour sun. And he said, if there's a 24-hour sun and we film it, well, it means we're definitely on a sphere. So you guys are wrong, we win, blah, blah, blah. And they went down and they filmed a 24-hour sun. And so now, a lot of people are in the flat Earth community are wondering what's going on. The guys that went down there are being, called shills and all this other kind of stuff because, they released the videos of what they saw. Um, and it looks like it's causing a bit of a division. Yeah, a few people are going after Flat Earth Dave, which is I haven't really looked into it, but he basically he was the first guy invited to go to Antarctica because obviously he's one of the most well known, and he didn't want to go because he didn't like the guy organizing it, and he didn't like the name Final Experiment, and also he didn't think that looking at the sun would prove what you're standing on. But he's somehow been pulled into it, and he's getting shielded. Everyone's so yeah. There's all this division going on, which is a bit sad. I mean, who knows? Maybe that was the plan in the first place, right? Like, if we can't beat them, let's just, disrupt them and separate them. And so, yeah, it's going on. But that's basically they filmed a 24-hour sun and put it up. But I mean, there's also, a lot of there's explanations as to why that could occur. I think I sent you a video. There's a guy who's got a little model, and he shows that if the sun's projected, like many of us think at a certain spot, it actually reflects down to the edge, but it depends on your point of view. So you could have, one person on one side of Antarctica, one on the other, and they would both see it because it's not actually there, right? It's a reflection. So, I mean, and I was thinking, what if there's outer lands, right? If there's outer lands, then there's got to be outer suns. And if our sun reaches Antarctica, well, you think that the outer land sun would also reach Antarctica, right? So is it even the same sun? Is there something going on there? I mean, and this is the thing, it's not final by any means, and it definitely prove, it doesn't disprove all the proofs is what the deal is, right? Just,
So wait, let me get my head around this. So I'm going to be acting dumb for a second. So we've got the ball. They're up here in Antarctica, and so
yeah,
what
on the
they're saying
bottom,
is they
yeah,
can see the sun do this.
yeah, yeah,
That's what they're saying,
yeah.
right?
So they're
But
saying ball in space, sun 93 million miles away. And so for the sun to be there for 24 hours, it means that we're on a ball that's rotating once in 24 hours, and the sun you can see from it constantly. Um, so that was the claim. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't disprove that there's no curvature. It doesn't disprove that the stars don't move. It doesn't disprove, all the proofs. So Eric DeBay's put a good video out if anyone wants to go check it
what,
out.
what did he, what did he say about it?
Yeah, he said it's crap. He's the one who showed this guy's video who shows if it's a projected, light that it would actually show in what we call Antarctica anyway, no matter where you are. And Dave's also come out with a few, sort of theories. And this is the thing, all it really proves is that the model's not correct. If anything else, you could say, oh, well, that this one thing proves, what, space and rotation and the sun being a, ball of nitrogen burning in a vacuum, 93, but it doesn't, there's other explanations, which I think is what it's ultimately going to do is just get people looking at what the shape is, because most flat earthers, they're not settled on a shape, right, on a map, because we just don't know. And this is the
Mm,
thing. But the ball is from their perspective. They see the flat Earth map and they're like, oh, well, everyone believes this. And I don't think they even understand it, properly. A lot of them think that we think we're on a flat disk and the sun's still 93 million miles away, or planets still exist and all this weird stuff. They don't get the enclosed kind of concept. But I think, yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it'll be good, but for everyone in the community, fighting and calling people names and that ain't gonna help, if anything, I think the only thing that's going to help is to have a look at what's going on, what are the options, sure that happens, but what does that mean? It doesn't mean clearly that we're on a sphere, right? Because it doesn't disprove any of the other proofs. And this so yeah, going into 2025, I mean, holy dolly, man, like what else could happen before the end of the year, right? It's getting crazy out there, man.
So give us a quick update on the drone situation.
So yeah, man, the drones over New Jersey where they started.
I heard they're in the UK as well.
Yep, they're in the UK, Germany. They've been recorded in Japan, China, other parts of Europe. I haven't seen any good ones from Australia yet, but definitely it's now spread to realm wide. But there's it's not just the drones. There's these spheres which people are now calling plasmoids,
Mm,
plasma spheres, right? And they're
yeah.
being filmed everywhere. They're doing weird things and they're moving like the traditional UFOs. They're the ones that like to zigzag and they go, they disappear, they appear, do all these things that UFOs are known for, which the drones weren't. So I think everyone's now onto the fact that the drones are just drones, right? 99.9% by the US government, probably. Um, but they're up there, I would say they're up there trying to get information on, trying to get readings and things off these plasmoids, which, by the way, look exactly like stars when we get those zoomed in pictures, and also like the star in the jar, waters above type thing. And of course, we've talked about, space being the ocean and all this. So that's what they look like. And now people are reporting that they're getting sick. I've heard it from the drones, not the plasmoids. I mean, that doesn't mean that's 100% correct, but yeah. So now we've moved into plasma balls.
Okay,
Um,
so a few things
mm,
on that topic. One is that it's interesting with the cymatics and the looking like stars because, we've sort of always theorized that the reason they look that way, the real way, is because they're in water.
Mm,
Whereas these cymatic plasma balls aren't in water.
not
They're
anymore.
just, but they look the same. So that's
Yeah,
an interesting thing to note.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And just quickly, they were talking a lot about USOs, a week or so ago, and there's people saying they're coming from the ocean. And, that's what we talked about.
Yep.
The space is the ocean, you come down the sides through the ocean and then up and out into the atmosphere. So, yeah.
I saw a video last night very quickly, and it was from America, and they were filming what looked like the drone shooting at the plasma ball. Like there was like, and then I was like, okay, this is interesting. So tell me a bit more about them people getting sick. What do you mean? Like where are they getting sick? How are they getting sick? What sort of sick?
They're calling it like a radiation type sickness is what, so they're just getting sick after witnessing and being around looking at these drones. Um, so yeah, I guess it's just, yeah, like just sick, right? Like not throwing up sick, but like actually getting ill, losing all their energy and feeling crappy and all this kind of stuff. And there's people who have been talking to the spheres, the plasmoids, telling them to blink and stuff, and they're blinking, and other people are saying that they're hearing or receiving messages, that seem to be
Yeah.
coming from these.
Saying what? Saying what?
I don't know exactly. I know that, there's obviously a Christian, a big sort of Christian narrative to this. They're talking about the fallen angels and all this. And then if you look in the Bible with Ezekiel's wheel, a lot of the
Yes.
thing, that's
That
pretty much what
scary
they look
monster
like.
looking thing, by the way, that fucking scary, freaky, fucking trippy monster thing.
Yeah, yeah. Go and if you Google, biblically accurate angel or wheel of Ezekiel, you get these very, very strange images.
They're
And
freaky.
angels the same, the way that the angels and the seraphim and stuff are
Yeah.
described. They're always covered in eyes, which,
Yeah.
obviously the watches, and the
Eye in
iron
the sky.
sky, yeah, the triangle, all that
Hmm.
kind of stuff. But I was thinking, like, what's going on here? Because obviously the last time, because I mean, let's put it out there, it looks like this could be a plasma reset, it's all about plasma. But the last time this happened, shit went bad, right? It was a negative. So in our
Wait, when
concept,
was the last time this happened?
well, what the last one would be the fallen angels,
Okay, all right.
as
So,
far as that
wait,
narrative. So if we're talking things coming down from the heavens and influencing man, if we go to the fallen angels, then we obviously that was negative, we're still under this negative, rule. But what if that was because we were going into the negative, right, at the bottom of the sine wave, and now we're at the top? What if it's now positive?
mm,
What if they're
mm.
coming in, to change the energy back up again? Is what
Okay,
I'm
so
thinking.
okay, so this is interesting. So, the drones wouldn't be making people sick.
Well,
Like,
the drones have
why would,
also been caught or filmed spraying stuff.
how annoying.
So it could be something to do with that. They could be giving off radiation or something like that. So
Okay, I have
just a drone wouldn't make you sick, but it depends what they're putting off, right?
okay, so I have an interesting story I'm going to bring in here. So back in 2016, I believe, I and this was around the super soldier period of my life. Um I'll just tell you the story and I'll tell you how I think it relates. So I went, this is before I only just met the super soldier, and I was invited to his property to actually search for gold, because at the time I was on this trip about like, why can't I match, increase my frequency to the frequency of gold, and then move around Australia and just like connect in with gold, because we've got this delusion in the world that gold is scarce metal, but in actual fact, Australia's covered in it. It's very shallow, like it's close to the surface, to the point where our gum trees and gum leaves actually suck it up into their leaves, where gold gets bored into the leaves of the trees. Like it's really common, right? And
Mm.
so I was like, okay, I'm just going to become the frequency gold. And at the time, I was taking Ormus and I was taking gold elixirs, and I was like, this is fun, right? At this time, I was also sleeping under a pyramid. So okay, all those things they relate, side notes. Anyway, so we go to his property to go searching for gold. Of course, we don't find any gold. But in the evening, I'm standing around the campfire with him. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, the temperature plummets, like drops down, like a very tangible drops down. Like it would have gone, it felt like it dropped down 15 degrees in a second, you know. So suddenly you could see your breath in the air, and it was really obvious and really tangible. And this really dense energy came across the whole experience. And he froze. And now imagine this concept with a super soldier. They're meant to be completely fearless. They're meant to have completely no sense of any what would be, they don't have that,
Yeah, yeah.
natural instinct to be in fear. Um anyway, and then we started hearing this like noise, like this and it was getting close, and we started to hear these steps in the bush, right? So we're in the bush, in the Australian bush, and there's a campfire. That's the only source of light, and we're by ourselves. And there's like, and so we start hearing this noise. Jason goes white, which is really weird to see. The temperature plummets down, like very tangibly. This is why the super soldier story fucked my brain, because every time I experienced something, it was physically extremely tangible. But in telling going back through the story, it seems completely untangible.
Mhm.
So basically, okay. And then he was saying to me, there's like, we've got tall white grays all around us. They've surrounded us. And so, and instantly, and at the same time, you're saying that this dread ascended down on me. Like it just a dread came through. I could feel it. It was really tangible. This dreadful, dreading, fearful, energetic, right? It just down inside me. And as soon as I acknowledged that, I was like, I am not falling for this shit, man. And I immediately stood up in front of the fire and started giving this great big, very long, maybe 30-minute speech about unity. And so I just started talking about the unification and how delicious it would be if we could all sit here around the campfire, not to threaten each other, but to learn from each other, and how delicious it would be if all the animals of the world could sit here and talk, and how beautiful it would be to make friendships with beings from all over the realm, from past our realm. And I went on this, very positive, very loving, very unconditional talk, right? And upon doing that, the noise stopped and the temperature rose, and they were gone, right? So that happened. And then everything, and we just thought, oh my God, that was so strange. Like, and I couldn't physically see them at this point. I could hear it. I knew the presence, and the change in the energetic was very palatable. So then maybe half an hour later, it happened exactly the same again. The temperature plummeted, like boom, it had come back up, it went down. This time, and now the retelling of this part is I'm gonna, all right, just bear with me, all right? It's a lot of variables to take on. Are you there? Have you frozen?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Yep.
Okay. So in half an hour later, it happened again, and this time it felt worse. Like it felt like and Jason said that another entity here, and it's much worse. It's worse, and I could feel it. So I did again. I got up, I did my speech, I did it louder, I did it longer, I really amped it up so that the positive energy and the love and the unconditional and the invitation to be in friendship was there. And I completely denied any fear going through me. I just got rid of it altogether. And in that moment, this is so weird. He like turned towards me. So we're about a meter apart, right? He turned towards me. He had this shocked look on his face, and then he collapsed to the floor. He just collapsed to the floor, which I've never seen, right? This gigantic human being just woof to the floor. And I was like, oh my God, what's just happened? And I get him back up, and he's literally terrified. And like now this is very weird, right? To see this come through a super soldier energetic. And then he's like, he took a little while to get himself, like he's get himself back to a place where he could communicate. And in doing that, he said, I just watched. He said, these two things has happened to me simultaneously. I just watched this thing come out of you that was the exact shape of you, like an identical shadow, if you like. But what I saw from and it stood beside you, and what I saw was this entity with like big black elongated eyes and a big black mouth. Like, so it was horrific and terrifying to look at, right? It didn't look like me, but it was the exact same shape. And then he said at the same time that he witnessed that and it went through him, which is what caused him to collapse. Like it went past, it came out of me and then through him, he collapsed. Okay, this is all his retelling because I didn't see any of this, obviously, right? But he said at the same time that happened, he heard a very clear voice in his head. And that voice said that what we have just done is fulfilled a contract. Get this right. We have just fulfilled a contract between Kelly and ourselves in this moment to remove from her an implant that no longer serves her and that we will be removing, we've just removed it from her. She contracted to have it in the first place. We are here in service to her, right? It was all eccentric. It was all Kelly eccentric. We're in service to her. At midnight tomorrow, she's going to get very sick. And when she gets sick, she's going to feel like she's dying. And she's going to, but she will, it will pass within 3 days. This is exactly what they said to her. I was not sick, by the way. I was at the peak of my happy, healthy existence, not sick at all. And I was like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm so not sick. That is crazy. Then he goes on to tell me that what they explained to him was that there is a time on this realm where their job, these beings' job is to come here and remove these implants from the entire human race, which has kept them enslaved. And in removing those implants, they would all get totally sick and that they
Wow.
would feel like they were dying. And it's Kelly's job to assure them that they're going to get through this. Like she's preluding it. How the fuck is that? This is
That,
2016, right?
yeah,
Okay. So I didn't see these entities. Jason, because with the super soldier construct, the idea is that they have infrared vision, right? So they can see at night in the dark. And in the daytime, they're overwhelmed by the brightness. They wear sunglasses. I'm not a super soldier. This is just what I was told from him. Take it or leave it, right? But infrared is how they can see the world. Sunglasses during the day. So he described them to me. I have in previous times, like maybe when I was in about 22, I was sitting there doing a blindfold retreat, and these same tall, white, elongated, aliens, beings came to me and went astro traveling with me for weeks. Right. And they were like tall and white and see-through. And you could see color coming through them. And they spoke with color, not with language. It was all telepathic. And so he described these beings to me, and that is what it seemed to me, right? Anyway, so I was a bit freaked out because of a few variables, because it was so tangibly physical what had occurred, and because I could hear it, I could sense it, the temperature dropped, he dropped, so I was a bit freaked out, but I was definitely not sick. So we go back. We leave the campsite in the next morning. I go home and then it's about like, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night and I fucking start getting sick. Like, I'm not talking like a little stomach bug, man. I'm talking sick, sick, sick. By midnight that night, I had a fucking huge fever and I was shaking and I was sweating and a huge fever to the point where, like, out of nowhere, it was almost like I'd hit that, like I'd got malaria
the
really
food
fucking
poisoning.
quickly. Right? And then that
Mm.
malaria went on to become this huge chest infection. This is all in 24 hours, chest infection where I could hardly breathe. And I was sitting there with my fire on and water on my fire, just trying to steam myself. I was by myself. I was just like sitting in the hot shower. My chest filled up. I could hardly breathe. It was like stabbing. It was like I was at the tail end of some tuberculosis. That's what I used to say. Like it felt like I was at the tail end. This is a long story. I'm sorry. Tail end of tuberculosis, and everything got affected. And I honestly, in about 3 days, I think I lost about 5, 6 kilos. Like because I was in so much fever, and I honestly, on the second day, even though he had told me this would occur, which I didn't believe him. The second day, I literally thought I'm actually dying. I'm going to have to go to hospital. I can't breathe. My chest is completely destroyed. It's stabbing pain every time I take a breath. Nothing's working. And so I called him and I was like, holy fuck, man, I'm actually dying. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what they've done. I'm actually dying. So he eventually came over on the third day. And you know what he gave me? What two little pills do you reckon he gave me that would have
Um,
been given to the military?
I'm thinking the ivermectin, but that's probably not right.
Hydrochloric.
An anti-parasitic, is it? Like the bomb?
He gave me the standard malaria tab. The what was it? Hydrochloroquine. What was the one that came out?
Yeah, hydrochloroquine.
The one that you just basically buy from a chemist for malaria, like before COVID hit.
Hmm.
So like, and then within like maybe 2 hours of receiving that, I started getting better. But up until that moment, I thought I was dying. Okay, I called that the alien flu. That's what I called it, Campbell. Go to 2020 and COVID-19 comes out with exactly the same symptoms. Like I just had an extreme, intense version of it.
Mm,
But for the people who first got contacted with the whole concept of that virus, let's take the name COVID out of it, whatever that was, like they literally went down so bad they had to go to hospital, right? And then they're all killed by those machines.
yeah, yeah.
So all I'm saying is like hearing that the plasma is making people sick is interesting to me because I never forgot that they said that they are contracted to the human race as part of this shift to remove these implants etherially, like not physically, but
Yeah,
etherially, and it would
yeah,
make you
yeah.
sick and that you would be okay. But they said that, for the elderly and children, it's a fragile time
Mm,
because actually it's a big sickness that happens very quickly. So that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Well, that is interesting, right? Because radiation sickness, that's kind of what it means, right? You just feel like you're dying, but for no reason, right? That they just kind of
Yeah.
say radiation, like if that even exists, right? And so yeah, we're being cleansed because I definitely don't have any thoughts that what's going on is bad. I don't think that it's, the fallen angels or the devils or whatever come back to wreak havoc or whatever they're supposed to be doing. I believe we're definitely going into the positive shift. I mean, clearly we're at the end of an age, or that, we're crossing over into something else. We're at the top of the peak. Um, so that is interesting. I mean, so what if that's what's going on? They're coming in and they're removing all
It's
these
contracted.
attachments and all these implants, because of course there's been, don't know his name, there was some guy who was actually removing physical implants from people for years, wasn't he? Like who had had alien contact, or at least said they did. And we all know about the etheric attachments and demons and all this kind of stuff that's come into the narrative in the last sort of few years. So wow, I mean, wouldn't that be good? I mean, maybe not the 3 days of sickness. Maybe they keep talking about 3 days of darkness, don't they? Maybe that's the darkness. It's not actually talking
Well,
about the dark. You
yeah,
just have to go through a dark time, right?
that's true because you do go into a darkness because you're so feverish. Well, I was so feverish that it was a blur of 3 days. It probably took me 10 days all up to really get over it. But the 3 days at the beginning, I thought I was literally dying. And it takes me a lot to even consider the concept of getting actual real, into like, going into an ambulance, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I was really worried. I was really worried. And I was so fit and strong. I was like, this was, I was fit. I was not going down by a little cold, it took a lot. So whether or not I was like it was a prelude to, and it was the intense version of it. But yeah, I mean, I think if we're starting to see sickness attached to unusual behavior like plasma balls, it's a possibility. It may
Yeah.
not be the truth, but it's a possibility that there is actually a process going on board where the human race has to have these implants from at least some of us have to have these implants removed. And it was and it makes it that all makes sense to me, right? That all makes sense to me. But that's just a theory coming from my own experience. It may
Yeah,
not be
well,
the
it's
actual one.
interesting, especially, with all the talk about what was in the jabby jab and, nanoparticles, self-assembling, all this kind of stuff.
Yes, which would have been
They,
adding the implant.
yeah, and so they're like after that's all gone through, they're coming down to remove all that crap, right? To sort of deal a final blow to the new world order. So guys, let us know in the comments. Have you seen any of these balls, these drones, and have you or anyone you know gotten sick from
Mm.
the
I tell
experience?
you what, if you do get sick, like I got sick, basically I survived by spending 3 days in a hot shower, just steaming myself. It's the only way I could breathe without pain. And I put hot water on my and do steam baths all the time for like 3 days with like tea tree oil or eucalyptus oil. That's basically what I did. I couldn't eat. My sleep and then the weirdest thing was this is even so weirder, right? Just because it's always so fucking weird. Um, what they also said to him was that it would start on midnight the day I got home, and then it would end at midnight in 3 days' time. Like it was so specific information, right? And I fucking swear to God, on the third night, when I just thought, there's no way I can do this anymore. Like I went and like I was sweating so much. I was sleeping on a mattress on my floor with the pyramid on top, and then my Persian rug underneath my Persian rug because I love Persian rug. My Persian rug underneath that, and the mattress down to the rug onto the floorboards were wet. Like
No
that's how much
way.
sweat was coming off me. Yep.
Wow.
So and then at like I don't know, I went to bed. I was always in bed, so I just anyway, I got woken up by my cat, my lovely little fucking excellent Damon, my little cat Scrappies.
Yeah.
And she was with her paw. She was like doing this with my teeth. She was like waking me up with her paw. And when she woke me up, I was so tangible. The fever broke and I could feel it. And the fever broke, the sweating stopped, and then out from me, just gallons and gallons and gallons of phlegm. Just spewed out of me, right? And the fever had broken. I looked at the clock and it was 5 minutes to midnight.
No way.
I mean, it's just like you can't make this stuff up. Like this is exactly what happened to me.
It's
And then, of course, I
crazy.
had no one to really talk to about it. So I was just like, what the fuck
What
has
just
just
happened?
happened?
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, let's hope it is for something good. Because like I say, I don't feel it. I definitely don't feel of anything nefarious. And what I've seen with people that, are awake, even though I don't like that term, they're all like, come down, aliens, just come and talk to us. Like there's no fear out there at all. Like we've hit this point where people fear the government more than anything. Like there's nothing that could trump that. It's like trump that, right? Come down and get rid of these people. So I mean, it reminds me, there's that story in the Bible of no, actually no, I think it's from the Sumerian tablets, isn't it? Where the workers were working down, I think it was the Agigi, and they were mining gold and they started getting upset and complaining and the noise got so loud that the gods had to come down and do something because people were just like, no, we're not doing this anymore. Blah. And so they came down and changed it. And that's when they said they made us, I think, in the story. But that's what it feels like, right? People are done and they're like, no, no more. Come down. It's like, let's change this now. We're not playing this game anymore. And here we are going to 2025, which everyone's been saying for years is going to be the big one, the big changing year. And suddenly all these orbs appear, and it was obviously prophesized by Cliff. Um, is it Young? No, it's not Cliff Young, is it? Cliff
Yeah, I think it
High,
is.
Cliff
Yeah,
High, yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Um, Cliff Young was the dude who run the Melbourne to Sydney Marathon, wasn't it? Was that Cliff Young? Yeah, so it's an interesting times, and yeah, obviously it's Christmas Eve guys. So we did want to say Merry Christmas
This is our Christmas
this is our
message.
Christmas message.
So wait. So there's all right. So obviously you guys are still watching World of Science. They did play the Flat Earth Sun thing on World of Science this week. Um, there's obviously still a shitload of movement in the Earth. There's a lot of volcanoes and earthquakes going on. There's a lot of water
Yep,
moving through the Earth in ways that don't seem relating to rain so much.
yep.
Um, and we've got these plasma balls. We've got the military chasing them.
Chasing in a
And
drone.
we've got outbreaks of illness in all sorts of ways.
Yep.
There's illness on cruise ships, and there's flesh-eating illness in Australia. And there's weird fucking things going on as far as,
Yep. The
you know.
birds are going crazy. There's massive flocks of
Oh yeah,
birds.
that's right. Mm.
I saw one video from Texas and it was showing this car park and it was covered in crows. They were all over all the cars. It was like the birds, right?
Mm.
Hitchcock. It was very strange. I saw another one of
Interesting.
these turkeys or something just going around in circles, and that would mean to me the electromagnetic field is changing,
Changing.
right?
Yeah.
So, so that there's big things going on, and also lights.
Oh, the
House
flickering
lights,
light.
street lights, car lights. They've been flashing and
Yes.
doing weird stuff.
Saw that.
Yeah, so there's some going down. It's not just drones, and of course, the American government came out and said, "Oh, we don't know what they are," and then everyone just kept on saying, "No, yeah, of course you do. You're full of shit." And so now they've come out and they're going, "Okay, we do know what it is, but there's no threat." And so they're basically acknowledging the drones, but not acknowledging the
Mm.
plasmoids, the plasma out there. And I mean,
Well,
we've been watching Jay Dreamers for years, and he's been talking about this, right? The whole plasma apocalypse, and other channels have too. And is that what we're seeing? And I have seen a couple of videos that said we've actually properly entered the age of Aquarius just like a few weeks ago or a month
yeah.
ago. But no, it wasn't. What 2012 or 20? I don't know what the dates were, but I thought we were already in it. But apparently, some people are saying we've only just actually crossed into it. So there's a lot of signs out there, right? A lot of signs.
It's very interesting indeed. And I think obviously the skies are changing color everywhere. And
Yeah, the auroras, right? Remember the auroras coming right down. So we've been seeing this stuff build up for a while.
so it's interesting to me because I can trace what's happening now through the last 10 years of my life. I can trace stories and events that happened to me, certainly with the quickening and being told about the quickening in 213 and how tangible that experience was for me because like literally my cells were speeding up. And then it took a session of the crystal bowls and they got reversed. And the voice told the person that it was only for me and not to worry about it and la la la. And then the speedy cells stopped. And it made me I was thinking about it yesterday because I was writing the chapter for the book and yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting that in 213, the quickening became, an idea in my head, and then the physical speedy cells. And then a few years later, the implant got removed in a very strange way, and I got really sick. And then a few years later, the whole world got sick. Um, and then we've got all these rumors of another worldwide lockdown happening, which I believe will be this year. That's my prediction. And it's interesting being here in Africa, and I'm speaking to whoever I can speak to in English about this topic. And the excellent man who runs this riad that we're staying in, he was saying that they've noticed that the weather's really weird, like it's flooding in the Sahara Desert, which has never happened before, and like last year they had a massive, terrible earthquake in Marrakesh, which killed thousands, which
Right.
I vaguely remember. And so but they have they haven't heard anything about the drones or the plasma balls. And I said, because obviously they have massive blue skies out here, vast horizons. So I'm very interested in this stay and over the next 2 months. If I'm going to see anything, if anything's going to present itself to me to like reiterate or further our theories on these topics. My instinct, my instinct is that for those whose vibration has moved with the shift, and because we're in a vibrational world, right? So this is all comes down to vibration.
Yeah.
So if you're and vibration doesn't have to mean a positive attitude. right? Because I can be a cynical, grumpy bastard. It doesn't have to come with the positive attitude and la 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 of the
Right. Yep. I agree.
of that whole personal development movement. But, like I would say for everyone watching this podcast, we have over since 2013 and onwards adapted and transitioned to a speedier vibration. And
Yep.
so we're very conscious that it feels like time is sped up, but it may actually be us. Our perception of reality has sped up. Our perception is sped up, which would make sense when, I think back to the story about my quickening. So I think anything that happens in anything esoteric like the plasmoids is in our service.
I
And I
believe.
believe that the alien concept, the concept of aliens, is also in our service. That we've been fed a Hollywood delusion of what an alien is, which is ghastly and monstrous and always coming to destroy us and maim us in every possible awful way. But in
Yep.
actual fact, that parasitic energy, I believe, is from here. It's either underground from here, and it's old, secret
So, yep. Oh, she's frozen.
societies, keys, technology. So
Yep.
but I believe that the majority of extraterrestrials are in service to mankind, trying to break in to this enslaved grid to serve us.
Yep.
And that whatever happens moving forward with 2025 into the future, for us, it's going to be in our service.
Mm.
And we just have to ride the wave, so to speak, ride the wave. That lockdown, I can so see coming at the hands of like plasma balls. Like, and imagine if every star we could see was a plasma ball.
Well,
They've always been there on
well,
the outside of the firmament, potentially on the outside, always there, monitoring the situation,
yeah.
trying to figure out how to free us from this enslavement. They're monitor and they start to descend.
Mm.
All the stars, which we call stars, which look like plasma balls, start to descend. And then the military go after them with drones, and suddenly you've got like a worldwide event and it's causing people to be sick because imagine if they were removing the implants and suddenly we're all locked down.
Lockdown again from the alien virus. Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, because we don't know what these plasmoids are, are they intelligent on their own, or are they like a conduit away for other intelligences to get in here and to see and to see what's going on and to start affecting change, right? Is it like a looking glass, right, from a bigger reality that they're using, because I mean, I totally agree that I don't think there's anything nefarious about it, but it will clearly be used and put in that light, right, to get more control. That's what they always want, right? More and more control, and what a perfect thing, right? The aliens are invading, so you're all locked down for your own safety because people are
And we've
getting
all been
sick.
programmed.
Yeah,
We've all been
for
programmed, and
so
the
long,
aliens
man,
are very
since
bad, very
since the
bad.
50s. It's
Yep.
all, yeah, man. The
Science
aliens are these
fiction.
physical beings, and of course, we've discussed, are they just all um basically what's the word I'm looking for? Like the vision we're given is based on parasites,
Mm-hmm.
right? The whole aliens and all these weird, ugly demonic looking things that come and attack, it's all parasitic, right? So they're sort of showing us in one way, but creating a story and fear with the same narrative, right?
That's right, because parasites take from you.
Right.
They take your life force.
Yep.
Whereas I believe that any extraterrestrial intervention is to give to us. It's gifting us. It's not taking from us.
Mm.
It's to serve us. It's to heal us. It's to help us be. I mean, we don't know for sure, obviously, but if the movies have told us that they're very bad, and we know that prejudice is the biggest issue that's created for the human race
Yep.
to move through to be able to join a broader universal consciousness or universal system. It would all make sense to me. So I guess for 2025, our Christmas message to you guys is fucking like, you're gonna be fine.
Yep.
Like
No fear.
better than fine.
Yeah. This is good.
Outcome.
Don't believe the narrative, right? Don't get into fear. I
I think
understand
our
this is what we've been asking for and waiting for.
yeah,
Mm,
and I feel that our consciousness is going to get more intelligent, more open, more unbiased, which is a really big thing and something that's been really great for this movement. It's really kicked through a lot of our biasness. In
mm,
fact, the only thing we really hold bias towards now is the evil that is the people running this parasitic system. So our attention's now firmly on that and that alone. We don't hold that prejudice, that racism for other things. We hold it for them,
yep,
squarely
I can
faced
see
at
it.
them. You
Yeah.
hear us, it's you
We
and
see
only
you.
you that we look at these days. So know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but the evil's contained in here, right? In our realm. It's not that like we're surrounded by it because clearly it's not like we're good, it's good in here and we're surrounded by evil. It's clearly got to be the opposite. And whatever they tell us, we know that the opposite is true pretty much. So, alien invasions by killer people who want to come and destroy us, I mean, clearly doesn't exist, man.
That's right. And this is yet another reason that when Campbell and I release the tickets for this stadium gig, you guys have got to be fucking there.
Yes.
Because our coming together in that moment is going to be the key. It's going to be huge. It's going to be the purpose and reason that we are here.
Mm.
So when we fucking do this, you guys have to do it. You have to get behind it.
Yes. Yeah, man, we're going to send a shockwave of higher vibes, higher energy across the realm, right? And help
In a
anyone
way
who's
that's
still
never been
too
done.
low. It'll be,
Never.
yep. And that,
Never been done before. It will
no.
be fucking insane. I'm
Mm.
certain of it. All
Oh,
right, so
absolutely, man. We know stadiums are big speakers, so 100,000 of us. Yeah, man. Let's change the reality for good.
that's right. So obviously we've got a big year ahead of us, team, like following the what how this is playing out. And we're going to endeavor, of course, to have the most intelligent conversations live on the spot on these topics and let our life stories come through as they have been. And for all of you, they have been your prereqs, the precursors to having an understanding of what's actually playing out. Your life today has already shown you the bits of the puzzle that validates your perspective on these topics. Like it's already there.
Yeah.
So draw on your life experience. Like we're about to have I mean, this 2025 may be where we get the term rock and roll.
Yeah. It's time to rock and roll.
But
Not
I tell
rock
you,
and roll, rock and roll.
if you do get sick, you will get through it. Don't freak out and don't go to hospital. Do it sovereignly, do it sovereignly. And yeah, I mean, obviously I was given that malaria treatment, so I don't know, it became banned in Australia. It may be unbanned now. If it's unbanned, then go and get some
Rock up.
because
Mm.
of all the things that helped me in that moment, it was those two little pills, I tell you what. And it's the safest friggin' medicine that the world's ever produced almost. Like it's literally been used for decades upon decades upon decades. Like it's anyway, so this is our little Christmas message. I unfortunately have to wrap it up, Campbell, because I've got a bus to catch.
No worries.
But what a fantastic year we've had here at Tartaria, Australia. We've got
Yep.
touring all next year, and the tours are not so you come and sit and listen to us talk and ramble on about Tartaria, but simply so we can get together. A big fat excuse to bring the consciousness together and enjoy each other's company for 12 hours. That is the purpose of all these tours. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Mm.
Obviously, contribute a fantastic conversation, but this is the
Yeah.
purpose.
It's about building the network, right? Like, let's get this network spread, all connect up, start to be around people on the same vibration, and it's all leading towards the stadium, right? It's all getting people up, building up, getting around the people you want to be around, and we're going to culminate in a massive 100,000 people in one place frequency event, right? And
Right.
usher in our new world, right? Our new
Indeed.
reality. Yeah.
Indeed. And like if ever we were to lead an army in a direction of ascension, it's this is the move we're making. Whether it's right or wrong, whether we can pull it off or not, this is our move.
We're doing it
And
anyway. Yep.
all right, so everyone have a great time with your families in the next couple of days. That's all this is all it's
Yep.
about. Have a great time with your
Your
families.
presence. Yep. Not your presence, your presence.
And we will come to you in a week's time from Marrakesh. I will be in Marrakesh
Ooh.
over New Year's to celebrate this all with you guys. It's 11:44 here, 1144, just saying, just saying. It's been very numerical as we've walked through this trip.
Ah,
Lots of
interesting.
number mass coming.
Matrix
Um
going.
it's definitely peaked up again. It went quiet there for a while, but it's definitely 111, 222, 444, 333, 111. It's just constant at the moment. Um, we've had a great year. We love you guys and thank you for sticking around and enjoying our conversations. We love this.
Yep.
Campbell and I love being in a position to talk on these topics so freely. It's just been excellent. And plug for the t-shirts.
Yeah.
If you've loved our work this
Hello.
year and you want to support us, go ahead and buy a t-shirt, man. I would really love to see 100,000 people in 100,000 t-shirts at the event. That'd be very, very, very rad. Um, any last words, Campbell, before we
No, have an amazing Christmas and a great new year. Keep your vibes high. No fear for 25. And I have put up
That should be a t-shirt. No
no
fear for 25.
all right, there you go. Hit the drawing board, Cal. And tomorrow morning, Australia time, I have put up like there's a Tartaria Australia mega mix,
Is
10
there?
hours of
Oh
Kelly
my
Miner
God.
talking. So go
Shit.
and check that out as well. If you're bored, if you
Oh
got
my
nothing to
God.
do on Christmas, if you're alone or whatever for the day, then we've put something up for you to so you can hang out with us.
How do you make a mega mix? What did you do?
I just got our best talks, what I thought were our best conversations, and jammed them all together and put it into
Oh,
one video.
you guys are going to need a serious joint for that one. I tell you what. Okay, crazy. Well, enjoy that. Enjoy that. You'll be dreaming. You'll be dreaming in it if you watch a 12-hour broadcast. Oh my God. Um, actually, it'll be quite fascinating to watch that to see how the conversation has evolved over the what
Exactly.
are the earliest ones you've put on?
All from this year. So I think the earliest was, yeah, March or something. And I've sort of tried to sort of space them out a bit and just our sort of bigger concepts. And I did put in there Space is the Ocean. That would be the oldest one. I think that might have been 23. Well, I think that was last year, wasn't it? So that one's in there too, just because of what's going on at the moment, conversation that needs to be reheard, maybe.
All right, everyone. You have the greatest family time and end to the year, and we'll be with you over New Year's Eve. Hopefully I can get a podcast in there and find some beer while I'm at it, 'cause that's very hard to do here. And yeah,
She'll have a
and
hash anyway, so that's all right. I won't.
all right. Big love to everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us this year, and we'll see you on the cusp of 2025. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Yes, we
Woo-hoo.
appreciate you all. Stay awesome, and we'll talk to you, yeah, in next year, man, in the future.
In the future. All right. Mwah.
See you guys.